Next in our timing levers is work in progress or stock turnover. Work in progress applies to businesses that supply services where the primary input is labour, and can also apply to manufacturing businesses where they're putting together products. Stock will generally apply to retail and wholesale businesses and also to manufacturing businesses when it comes to their completed product. And the stock is the product, the end product that is actually being sold. Work in progress and stock turnover are measured as days, and it is the average number of days that it takes for a stock item to sell, or the average number of days that it takes to complete a job.
So let's have a look at stock turnover for product-based businesses. Here are our tips. Reduce the amount of inventory held both in range of products and number of products held. Examine patterns of demand. If you know when somebody wants something, you can have it at hand, but you don't need to carry some things all year round. Take, for example, ice cream is more likely to sell in summer months than in winter. Implement drop shipping to reduce the amount of stock held. In other words, have your supplier deliver it directly to your customer. Create an online store or use a white label store from your suppliers. Manage soon to be out of date stock as part of cash promotions. Remember earlier when we were talking about putting prices together, putting bundles together and increasing volume, sometimes you have stock that will be out of date. You can use this stock as a cash promotion item instead of destroying the stock because it's out of date and can't be sold. Use slow to move stock to fill out your bundle offerings too. Things may not expire, but they still may be on the shelf longer than is required. Rotate your stock. If your stock has an expiry date, put your oldest stock to the front and your newest stock to the back. Perform regular stock takes. Knowing what you've got in any period of time helps you to work out what will be sold and what won't be sold. You can also see then, often from your point of sale system, whether there are differences between the amount of stock that you have on hand and how much stock you should have on hand. Increase demand for your product using promotion strategies. And focus on products that sell well consistently. Here are some tips and tricks on work in progress for service-based businesses. Focus on completing jobs quickly. Avoid pick up and put down or stop-start in your jobs. Every time you have to find where you are at in a particular job, there's a bit of a learning curve, and that delay equals time and time equals cost. Plan the workflow of your team to make sure you have enough capacity at the right times. Every important process merits a process of continual improvement. Identify how value is added in each process. Remove any non-value adding steps and reduce waste. Project manage. Make sure your projects are kept on track by managing the process and the steps in each. Create work in progress limits and focus on resourcing bottlenecks. Atlassian do this. They actually create bottlenecks deliberately. So no one can start a new job unless they have capacity. They have a limit to the number of jobs that they're allowed to have open at any one point in time. So when a new job can't be taken on, they know that there's a resource bottleneck and they work taking steps to improve it. This may mean that you temporarily have to pull projects out of the workflow to focus on project completion. Communication with your customers is a really key part of this. Run projects in parallel teams to reduce hold-ups from bottlenecks. And now for some examples.
It's important to regularly, like at least every 6 months, analyse individual stock lines to look for any hiding underperformance. A good inventory system is essential to make this task easy and accurate. A golf equipment retail store found one particular stock line which had not sold anything for 2.5 years. They had given up trying to sell it, moved it to the storeroom, and soon forgot about it. When their accountant pointed out how much cash was tied up in this stock line that could be released, and also how much rent it was costing in that part of the storeroom that could be used for better stock, they decided to put it all out the front of the shop with a special clearance price, even if it had to be below cost. The result? 70% was sold in the store within 3 weeks, a further 20% sold on eBay, and the rest they gave away to charity. Most importantly, cash flow and storeroom space were freed up to be put to better use. Some businesses are better to sell less, in the short term at least. We said this back when we talked about debtor days. Let's look again at one of the examples from debtor days. To recap, a surveying business that had been established for 40 years was turning over 2.3 million per year. Net profit was very healthy, varying each year, but always between 20% and 40%, but cash flow was always tight. A business health check showed that way too much cash was tied up in customer accounts and uncompleted jobs, i.e. work in progress. So much so that as the business sold more, their cash flow went backwards, meaning the owners were reaching into their pockets to fund increases in sales instead of the business funding its own way. And it's not like we're talking exponential or radical growth, just steady growth. We dealt with the customer accounts in the module on debtor days. Work in progress was averaging 68 days. That's over 2 months of revenue tied up in jobs that were not complete. Combined with debtor days, in fact, 5 months of cash flow was locked in the business on top of normal owner funding. Meanwhile, wages, rent, and other costs all have to be paid. In this business, just a 7-day reduction in WIP days was enough to turn cash flow from negative to positive without doing anything else. From 68 to 61, so still a large number of WIP days, but that small difference was enough to turn it around. 2 immediate strategies were obvious for this business. Improve workflow management monitoring, number 1. Ensure that a new job isn't started if a new one can be finished first. Put a hard cap on the number of open jobs allowable at any time. And 2, charge up front, at least a deposit, if not the full quoted price of the job, as a fixed amount. Now, in a business that has been established for as long as this one, it's easier said than done to change the mindset of both team and customers. It's even tougher if the industry is highly competitive and most others offer the same conditions. That's where a combination strategy comes in. Focus on the efficiency of completing jobs and model the impact of price discounts for upfront payment. Does a truly virtual business have stock or WIP? What is a truly virtual business? Not just an online store of a physical business. For example, Genius U or Mindvalley. The elements of a truly virtual business include automation and a digital product or service. A web developer who charges on an hourly rate and invoices the job at the end is an example of work in progress tied up in a virtual business. The business does not have a premises and may interact completely within a virtual environment, but the labour required to complete the development is work in progress. One strategy for managing the turnaround time for the job would be to break projects up into identifiable segments, with each segment having clear outcomes, timeframes, and an associated invoice. Another strategy is to increase the automation of the service as much as possible.
So what does that look like in our Power of One scenario tool? We can see here in our case example that a reduction in stock days shows us that this is actually a product-based business. And the reduction in stock days by even 1 day has an impact of nearly $13,000 improvement in cash flow for the period. If you were just to focus on completing turnaround of stock in 15 days better, you would actually have a positive cash flow for the business. So our takeaways for stock turnover are: make sure you manage your stock. Use drop shipping or online stores if possible. And identify consistently selling products as part of your core offerings. And our takeaways for work in progress: complete projects promptly, reduce bottlenecks, and plan the workflow. Remember, if you want any help in being able to decipher your own numbers and work out what the best strategy for you is, you can actually have us run your numbers through our Power of One tool, or you can contact us at hello@cashflowers.com. Enjoy using our work in progress and our stock turnover tool and helping work out your strategy for your own business.